The game never stops, and neither do we. Welcome to the SDH Network. We're always around the corner from everywhere. Hey, I'm Jason Longshore. Good morning. It's time for your Morning Espresso, brought to you by Oglethorpe University, Atlanta's premier undergraduate learning experience and soccer powerhouse. We've got a lot to get to today. You had some MLS playoff action last night. Champions League spotlight. We've got some breaking news this morning in the USL Championship and some quick hits from around the world in the refill. Let's jump right in and start in Seattle. The Sounders did exactly what they had to do on Monday night. They survived. They took care of business at home, beating Minnesota United 4-2 at Lumen Field. That forces a decisive Game 3 in their first-round series. 5 of the series going to a Game 3 this season. Obed Vargas, he was the star of the night, the 18-year-old with a brace, his first 2 playoff goals as a pro. Jordan Morris added another one, his 10th postseason goal all time, tying him for the most among active MLS players. Danny Musovski chipped in with his first ever playoff strike. Vintage Seattle and kind of in some ways vintage Minnesota, as they wanted to sit back and hit you on the counter, and they did for 2 goals late in the first half, but Seattle then ended up taking care of business and restoring their multiple goal lead. 15-3-3 Seattle all time against the Loons in all competitions. It's going to be a fascinating Game 3 back in St. Paul. Before kickoff, Dayne Clair of Minnesota United was named MLS Goalkeeper of the Year, the second Loons player ever to win it, the second Canadian to do so as well. Seattle made sure that it wasn't much of a celebration, though, with their win. Saturday night, back in St. Paul at Allianz Field, it will be Seattle at Minnesota. This is going to be one of the really interesting games because of the clash of styles between these two teams. Looking forward to that one on Saturday night. Let's move into maybe some bigger picture Major League Soccer topics. St. Louis City, they named Corey Wray as their new sporting director. The same Corey Wray who was involved in helping build Toronto FC and later Columbus into winning teams. Had a lot of success in both of those places. He replaces Lutz Pfannenstiel, who's now at Aberdeen. Pfannenstiel was involved in building St. Louis and had that great 3/4 of the first season in 2023, and then it fell off. We'll see if Ray can make it a little more sustainable in St. Louis. Meanwhile, RSL, they have extended DeAndre Yedlin's contract through 2027, keeping him as a veteran presence in a team and especially a backline that's full of young talent. 2 big moves off the field. There's going to be a whole bunch more as we start to get into the offseason for more and more teams. And we've got some coaching vacancies that are open. Yes, Atlanta is one of those. We've got some player decisions that are going to have to be made. Yes, Atlanta's on that list as well. Options going to have to get decided upon. Lots of stuff. We've got a college draft to talk about. We're going to have plenty of MLS talk on and off the field between now and the end of the calendar year. But it's Tuesday. We're back into the Champions League in Europe, and we've got 2 gigantic games. We're going to start with one, PSG and Bayern. The first 45 of their Club World Cup quarterfinal here in Atlanta over the summer. The first 45 minutes of that game is maybe the best 45 minutes of a match I've ever seen. Ever. It was that good. Drama, just back and forth, lightning fast. Loved that game. Great match all the way around. PSG ended up getting the win in that one. Bayern have not lost in a competitive match since that. They're 15-0 this season in all competitions. Looking for win number 16 tonight. This is one of the games that we dream for when we talk about Champions League. And this is what I like about this new Champions League format. You wouldn't get this game in the group stage in the previous format. Now you do, and it's a great litmus test for both of these teams who want to win Champions League this year. PSG, obviously defending champions after that 5-0 win over Inter in last year's final. Luis Enrique, he has built a really flexible squad. You've got 16 different players that have scored this season. Now, he has had to rotate. He's had injuries to deal with. They're not going to have Desiree Doué today. They should get Ousmane Dembélé back. The system, though, keeps humming for Luis Enrique and PSG. On the other side, the system for Vincent Kompany and Bayern, they're playing some of the most balanced football in the world right now. 1 goal conceded in Champions League, only 3 goals conceded in the Bundesliga. Harry Kane's in the form of his life. Luis Diaz has come into the squad, and he's added creativity, he's added pace, a pressing structure that is everything that Vincent Kompany has wanted. It's synchronized, it's relentless. These are 2 managers who have a lot of respect for one another. Kompany praised Luis Enrique this week. He called PSG's evolution a revolutionary project built for the long term. But both managers want this win in a huge way. Will there be a win in this one? Will Bayern continue this winning streak? Will PSG continue to stay on the top of the mountain in Champions League? Really looking forward to this one this afternoon. Also, really looking forward to Liverpool hosting Real Madrid. Just as emotional for this one. You've got Trent Alexander-Arnold returning to Liverpool for the first time since leaving for Madrid. I think it should be at least a respectful reunion. The mood's toxic. A mural of him in Liverpool, the one with the line, "I'm just a normal lad from Liverpool whose dream has come true," that was defaced to read "Rat, adios el rata." That stuff's ridiculous in my opinion. And look, this is just me speaking. I think it's a shame that we have gotten to this stage in the way that we consume sports and the way that we react to people. Liverpool could have re-signed Trent Alexander-Arnold. They could have given him a contract that would have kept him there. Now, maybe they offered him something great and he said, no, it's time for a new change, whatever. I don't know. But to act like this was all on Trent Alexander-Arnold, I think is unfair to him. And the other reason why I get upset about something like this is not just any player who left a club. Trent Alexander-Arnold didn't develop elsewhere and show up at Liverpool and play for a few years and then leave. He's a developed player at Liverpool. He came from their academy. He should be celebrated. He didn't leave to another club in the Premier League. He left for one of the most storied clubs in the world, one of the only clubs in the world that can compare legacy-wise to Liverpool in Real Madrid. I think it's a real shame that he's being treated in this way, and all the blame is on him. I think that's ridiculous. I really do. And it's honestly a real shame that I think this is happening today, and it's a sidebar to this. Look, if you don't want to applaud him when he comes back, that's totally fine. That's understandable. No problem with that. That doesn't mean you have to be so extra and deface a mural and boo and whistle him like they did at the end of last season. No, that part is unacceptable. Don't cheer him, fine. Don't go beyond that and be disrespectful to a player that came through your academy. That part, just not cool, in my opinion. For Liverpool, the numbers are on their side in this one. 15 straight European home wins at Anfield. Madrid only 2 wins in their last 9 against English clubs. Mo Salah on 48 Champions League goals. If he gets to 50, he'll become the first African player to ever do that. Paris is going to have a lot of the glamour tonight. It's also going to be a whole lot of emotion in Liverpool and at Anfield. Some other games around Europe to keep in mind. Arsenal visit Slavia Prague in one of the earlier matches. Viktor Gyökeres sidelined by a muscle injury. Napoli is hosting Eintracht Frankfurt. That is another one of the early matches. The later games alongside the 2 we've talked about. Atleti hosting Union Saint-Gilloise. Juventus hosting Sporting Lisbon. And Tottenham Hotspur hosting Copenhagen. Tomorrow you got Manchester City and Dortmund. Newcastle hosting Athletic Club. Chelsea hosting Qarabag, and Barcelona on the road at Club Brugge. It's going to be a full week. You got Europa League and Conference League on Thursday. We'll be talking about all of it as we go, whether it's in Azerbaijan or in England or anywhere in between. All right, some breaking news on this edition of the Morning Espresso. Tom Bogert reported this just a little while ago. Some bad news out of the USL Championship. North Carolina FC has informed its players they will not field a team in 2026. Steve Malik is the owner. He also operates the North Carolina Courage of the NWSL. The club will finish its current playoff run and then shut down operations, according to the report. All players will be released. Those with guaranteed contracts will receive around 2 months of salary. Club started in 2007 as the Carolina Railhawks in the old USL top flight. They rebranded as North Carolina FC in 2017 with Major League Soccer ambitions. Charlotte ended up jumping ahead of them and got the opportunity in MLS. North Carolina FC dropped down to USL League One to minimize costs, then returned to the championship last year. They finished third in the East this season, a really good team. I mean, I don't know how the players are going to handle playing in another playoff game, knowing that it could be the last game for the club ever. That's this weekend. We'll see how that goes. This has got to be beyond distraction. This is, I don't know what you would call it. It's more than just a simple distraction because players now have to figure out what they're going to do next year. A lot of them already did. A lot of contracts in the USL are one-year contracts. But this is not good. And yes, USL is planning to create a first division standard league inside of their pyramid, with the championship being a second division, with USL League One being a third division. And yes, there's a lot of success stories in USL, 100%. But this isn't the first time this has happened in recent years. There have been quite a few clubs that have disappeared over the past few years. Memphis 901, Reno, Rio Grande Valley. There's Austin Bold. I mean, there's been some over this last decade. This is a shame. I did not see this one coming. And this is where I wish they would have dropped back down to USL League One. Maybe that didn't make sense. Maybe the losses have gotten too big. I do wonder what it means for the North Carolina Courage in the long run. Are they at any threat of being in trouble? Keep an eye on Cary, North Carolina, and what's going on there with Steve Malik and the North Carolina Courage, and now North Carolina FC. North Carolina FC only for one game at a time at this point. We'll see if they can make a miracle run to the USL Championship final. All right, time for the refill, your quick pour of headlines from around the world. Neymar and Santos, they are discussing an extension. We talked about this on Soccer Over There last night. They are looking at it through 2026. Both sides say the focus is in his recovery and World Cup preparation, not the money involved. I didn't have this one on my bingo card this morning. Snoop Dogg says Celtic should bring back Ange Postecoglou. Yeah, that's really a news story. I'm not kidding. I did not know Snoop had ideas on the Celtic managerial vacancy, but he does. And he even hinted that he'd invest in the club if asked. Snoop and Celtic. Chaos. So who's going to have to invest in Rangers to counterbalance that? I don't know. It's going to be weird. It's going to be interesting. Let's go to Switzerland. Pia Sundhage is out as Switzerland's manager on the women's side, despite a run to the quarterfinals in the Euros that they hosted and capturing the hearts of the country. She said she was surprised by the decision, but she's very proud of the progress made. David Beckham, he officially received his knighthood from King Charles at Windsor Castle, recognition not just for his football career, but also decades of philanthropy. And before kickoff tonight at Anfield, fans from both Liverpool and Real Madrid will gather at the grave of Arthur Johnson, who scored the first goal in Real's history in 1902, later went on to coach them. His grave is near Anfield, and it's a really cool moment. I'm not happy about the Trent Alexander-Arnold stuff that is becoming more of a story here than it should be, in my opinion. But this is a really cool moment of shared respect between two rivals, Real Madrid and Liverpool. Huge game today. PSG and Bayern. Huge game today. There's another huge game tonight. Georgia State's men, they host Georgia Southern. Yes, this is a really intense rivalry. It's going to be at 7 p.m. tonight at the GSU Soccer Complex. You can watch on ESPN+. I'll be on the call alongside Madison Cruz. Regular season finale. Georgia Southern trying to book a top 4 spot to host a Sun Belt Conference tournament playoff game. Georgia State trying to play a little bit of spoiler. I think there's probably a scenario where they could end up meeting in the tournament in Statesboro. That would be wild. Then after that, and after Atlanta Hawks basketball wraps up, it'll be Atlanta Soccer tonight, live on 92.9 The Game, probably around 11 o'clock. Stay tuned on my social media at Longshoe. I'll keep you posted on what the start time is looking like. But until then, you got Champions League this afternoon. Enjoy the matches. Enjoy your coffee. Enjoy your espresso. And as always, we'll see you around the corner from everywhere on the SDH Network.